little fox.
The Wind in the Willows. Episode 76. The Weasels and Ferrets. Surprised, Toad looked at Rat.
"What do you mean?"
Asked Toad.
"What haven't I heard?"
I thought you knew,
said Rat.
"Go on, Ratty.
Said Toad.
Tell me."
It's the Weasels and Ferrets.
Said Rat.
"The Wild Wooders?"
Cried Toad, turning pale.
"What have they done?"
I don't know how to tell you.
Said Rat. Rat stood up from the table. He walked back and forth.
"Tell me, please,"
said Toad.
They took over Toad Hall.
Said Rat.
"My beautiful Toad Hall!"
Cried Toad. A big tear formed in each eye. The tears splashed on the table. Plop, plop.
The police caught you.
Said Rat.
Everyone here heard the news. All the riverbankers were on your side.
Toad smiled proudly.
But the Weasels called you a thief.
Said Rat.
The Ferrets said you would go to jail. They said you would never come back.
Toad nodded sadly.
Mole and Badger moved into Toad Hall.
Said Rat.
They knew you would come home. They watched your house for you.
"What great friends!"
Said Toad.
But one night,
Said Rat.
the Wild Wooders came with guns.
"Those bullies!"
Cried Toad. The Wind in the Willows. Episode 77. Wild Wooders in Toad Hall. Toad banged the table angrily.
"The Wild Wooders had guns?"
He said.
Yes, they did.
Said Rat.
"What happened?"
Asked Toad. Rat told him everything.
It was a dark, rainy night.
Said Rat.
Our friends were sitting by the fire.
Toad listened closely.
A pack of Wild Wooders hid outside. The Weasels came in the front. The Ferrets came in the back. It was a surprise attack.
Said Rat.
"What did Mole and Badger do?"
Asked Toad.
Nothing.
Said Rat.
They were only two animals against so many. The bullies beat them.
Toad patted Rat's hand.
They kicked Mole and Badger out.
Said Rat.
The Wild Wooders moved into Toad Hall.
"Oh my!"
Said Toad.
Your house is a mess.
Said Rat.
The Weasels eat all your food. The Ferrets drink all your drinks.
"Why, I'll..."
Cried Toad, shaking.
And they joke about you.
Cried Rat.
They sing awful songs. Listen. When Toady went out on the trail, he never thought he would fail. But he drove too fast, his fun didn't last. Now Toady sits in jail. Oh, Toady's locked in jail.
The Wind in the Willows. Episode 78. Toad Goes Home.
"I've heard enough!"
Shouted Toad. He grabbed Rat's walking stick
I'm going to Toad Hall right now!
he said.
It's no good, Toad.
Said Rat.
The Wild Wooders won't leave. Come, sit down.
But Toad was already out the door. Toad hurried down the path.
I'll get them out!
He shouted.
They have no right!
Toad stopped at the gate of Toad Hall. A ferret popped up from behind the gate. He pointed a long gun at Toad.
Who are you?
Asked the ferret coldly.
Who am I?
Yelled Toad.
I am Toad! Toad Hall is my house!
The ferret said nothing. He aimed his gun.
You can't point that at me!
Shouted Toad. The ferret fired. The bullet whizzed by Toad's ear.
Hey!
Cried Toad.
You almost hit me!
The ferret aimed the gun again. Toad threw himself on the ground. Bang! The bullet flew over his head.
I'm leaving!
Yelled Toad. Toad stood up and ran down the road.
Look at the fat toad run!
Shouted the ferret. Toad turned around. All the ferrets were laughing loudly. The Wind in the Willows. Episode 79. Weasels at the Bridge. Toad hurried back to Rat's house. Rat was waiting for him.
They shot at me!
Cried Toad.
I told you.
Said Rat.
It's no use.
What can we do?
Asked Toad.
The ferrets guard the house.
Said Rat.
They watch day and night. We must wait until we have a plan.
But Toad did not wait.
I'll go in through the back.
Said Toad. He rowed Rat's boat to Toad Hall. Toad watched his house from the boat.
Everything looks quiet.
Toad said.
I'll hide under the little bridge.
Toad paddled carefully to the bridge.
They can't see me here.
He said. Crash! A huge stone dropped from above. It smashed the bottom of the boat. Water poured in.
Oh no!
Cried Toad.
The boat is sinking!
Toad sank with the boat into the river. Two weasels laughed from the bridge.
Don't come back!
They yelled.
We'll drop the next one on your head!
Toad climbed onto the shore. He walked sadly back to Rat's house.
I warned you.
Said Rat angrily.
Now my boat is gone. The clothes I gave you are ruined.
Toad sat and put his head in his hands. The Wind in the Willows. Episode 80. Together Again. Rat was angry at Toad for losing his boat.
Rat, I should have listened.
Said Toad.
Well, let's have supper.
Said Rat.
We'll wait for Badger and Mole.
Badger and Mole?
Said Toad.
I forgot all about them. Where are they?
They're camped out by Toad Hall.
said Rat.
The Wild Wooders threw them out. But they still watch your house.
Said Rat.
They stay out even in the rain and cold.
Are they working on a plan?
Asked Toad.
Yes,
Said Rat.
you are lucky. They are very good friends.
Toad lowered his head. There was a knock, and Rat opened the door. It was Badger. His shoes were all muddy.
Hello, Badger!
Cried Toad. Badger sat down without saying a word.
He'll feel better after he eats.
Said Rat to Toad. There was another knock. It was Mole.
Hooray! Here's Toad!
Said Mole, smiling.
It's good to have you back.
Mole's coat was covered in old leaves. He looked just as dirty as Badger.
Sit down, Mole.
Said Rat.
Have some cold beef and pickles.
Badger and Mole ate hungrily.
So,
Asked Toad.
do you have a plan?
The Wind in the Willows. Episode 81. Beef, Pickles, and Pie. Mole ate a pickle, and Badger ate some beef.
Toad, we walked all around your place.
Said Mole.
The ferrets are everywhere. They shoot bullets and throw stones.
And they laugh.
Added Toad. Rat thought deeply.
Well, I think it's clear.
Rat said.
Toad should try to...
Now wait.
Said Mole, his mouth full.
First, Toad should...
You can't tell me what to do.
Cried Toad.
It's my house, and I'll say what we do.
Mole, Toad, and Rat all shouted at once. They all had different plans.
Everyone be quiet.
Shouted another voice. It was Badger. They stopped yelling. Badger finished eating his pie.
Mole's right.
Badger said.
The Wild Wooders are too strong for us. Then it's all over!
Cried Toad.
I'll never get Toad Hall back!
He burst into tears. Badger looked at them calmly.
There is a way.
He said.
We can defeat the Weasels and Ferrets.
They all looked at him.
I'm going to tell you a secret.
Said Badger. Toad sat up. He loved secrets. Of course, he never could keep them.